Good morning. I'm April Chadwick,
And I'm Diane Gertis.
and we are with the Mortgage Advantage TMA Corner. Woo! Happy spring almost, isn't it?
Yep, still winter.
March.
Yep, but we're almost to spring. Still wearing winter outfits.
Yes.
Yes. Got my ombre makeup on. I wash my hair with your recommended rice water. So there you go.
It's all new changes, spring cleaning.
Yeah, so
Well, how is my favorite little brother?
so we have a new kitten named Merlin, and he's adorable. My husband picked him out. We've always had a lot of dogs and animals, and it's been many years since we've had a cat. I don't think we've ever had a kitten. I don't think we've ever had, the kids had a kitten when they were, you guys had a kitten, but we never have. And it's been different. And Mike picked him out because I think he was, I don't know, he was putting on a really pathetic act, and nobody wanted him because they thought he was too shy, and
Because he got neutered the day before.
well, and also they always have these little happy sayings. Well, this kitten does this and this and loves people. This one says he's been through this. They found him in the cold. He's had hyperthermia, fleas, ear infections. You're taking your chances, dudes. And Mike said, well, he deserves a good home. So he bring him home, and he's wild. He is just but he is so cute. He's just all over the place. So it's funny, like you said, it's so great to be able to pour your love and feel the love back, even on something as tiny as a kitten.
It's wonderful to be able to pour your love into something.
Yes. Yeah.
So,
and Mike's getting a great deal of joy out of it as well.
And that's super important too. So, I'm happy for you guys.
Wow.
So it is March, we're in 2022, and what are we going over today? Something that everyone should be paying attention to. There's a lot of misinformation about it.
Yeah, we're going to go, I hate to, it's appraisals. And even with everything that's going on in the world and Ukraine, people are still buying houses. We're still doing loans. Although I think there's a little bit of misinformation out there that maybe it's slowed down. It hasn't. I mean, yes, there are fewer homes to choose from, but as far as people out there buying, there's still a lot of borrowers who are wanting to buy a home. The housing prices have accelerated, and with appraisals and with the multi-offers, that it seems that every listing will receive multiple offers on the home, and the sellers are going to take the best offer. And most of the offers have what they call appraisal acceleration, that they agree to pay over the appraised value. I got a call, well, it's not just the only call I got, but I got a call on Saturday regarding appraisal. I got a couple of calls last week regarding appraisals. And this is how it usually goes. Well, and especially if the borrower is using me and it's not the agent's lender. And this is how the conversation will begin. Either my lender doesn't need appraisals on properties, or I have heard that lenders aren't requiring appraisals on properties. That is a little bit misleading. That's misleading information. VA, FHA always require an appraisal for
one more time.
Yeah.
They what?
FHA VAs always require an appraisal for a purchase, and USDA. Always. The agency loans, which would be Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, all loans that are in Arizona, the conforming loan limits is $647,000. Below that, if it's a conforming loan, taking advantage of the good interest rates, they are all run through the National Automated Underwriting System, or AUS. And that the AUS, the automated system, spits out whether or not you're going to need an appraisal or not. It is not up to the lender. It is not up to me, Diane. Or I can't say, you get an appraisal, you
Right.
get an appraisal, and you get an appraisal. That's not how it works.
You're not appraisal Oprah.
That's correct. So the system already has the comps on the properties already baked in per se. So if someone's offering a sales price of 800,000, financing 600,000, as long as it's less than 20, as long as they're putting at least 20% down on a conforming loan amount, there is a possibility that they would have what they call a property inspection waiver. But unfortunately, we've been seeing the system asking for more appraisals in the past 30 days. And the reason for that is that the property values have continued to increase. And possibly those comps are not in the system as yet, or they're not showing them being sold for them. Questions?
No, so basically what you're saying is like if someone is purchasing a home, you have the address, you're like, okay, I'm going to run you, see what, if through automated underwriting, that's when you find out and if appraisal is going to be required. Now, mind you, this is not FHA or VA or USDA, but if it is a QM loan, when you run it, you find out if you need to do an appraisal or not, correct?
Qualified mortgage loan, but under the conforming loan limits, Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac. And it's not like you can call me up and say, hey, Diane, it's Sunday morning at 8 o'clock. Can you run this through your system and see if you're going to need an appraisal? That's not how it works. We have to have disclosure signed, and we have to have disclosure signed, authorization from the buyers, the property address. And it takes work. It's just not something that happens like that. We also have to have all their documentation and the disclosure signed, then we can run it through. You cannot depend on that. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Right. No, I think that's a great point. And I think like you're saying, like back, before, I'm sorry, I'm rambling here. Let me fix that for a second. When agents sit there and say, or listing agents say, well, we're only going to accept offers that don't require an appraisal, or listing agents will say, well, I had this deal done and they didn't require an appraisal. If they had a loan, then either way, either they did have an appraisal or they ran it and the system had said they didn't need an appraisal. It's not the lender themselves that's saying that.
That is correct, because they won't be able to sell that loan. All loans are sold to the secondary market and they have to follow the guidelines. If you're doing a jumbo loan, at least at, this is, what day is today? March 7th, 8th? As of today, I have never heard of a jumbo loan not needing an appraisal.
Oh, absolutely. It's a higher.
Yes, appraisal would be required. Also, if you're doing loan amount, some lenders will require 2 appraisals if the loan amounts are over a certain amount, whether it be $1.5 million, if the loan amount's over $2 million. That piece of it is lender specific. But jumbo loans will always, to my knowledge, require an appraisal.
And jumbo loans are for what price range now? Loan amounts?
Over $647,000 and above.
Correct. So there will be many more jumbo loans in theory.
Yeah. Also, jumbo appraisers that in Arizona, state of Arizona, that appraise properties over $1 million are required to have an additional license.
Oh, wow.
Or an expanded license to qualify them to appraise those price range properties. So therefore, those appraisals are could be more expensive as well. And appraisals have gone up as well.
Well, and like you're saying, good point. Like just even on that point, I mean, just in Arizona, we have a shortage of appraisers right now. And appraisals are, once again, isn't this like the beginning of 2020? Maybe like say midway through 2020, remember appraisals got really expensive. They were taking, 6 to 8 weeks. And I think that we're kind of back there again.
Well, in some areas where our appraisals are coming in pretty quick. I mean, I'm not trying to, I know you
yeah.
had a broker meeting yesterday with another real estate brokerage, but I found that they're coming, at least in metropolitan Phoenix, they're coming in, on a timely basis. But if you're looking to purchase out in the outskirts, and I'm talking like you were talking about an issue that they had in Casa Grande,
Mhm.
I know that we have had issues if you are thinking of purchasing up in the high country, it could take longer to do an appraisal up there. So these depends on where you're considering to purchase. Right now, the appraisals within our area are coming in on a timely basis, but we never know when that's going to change. And I'm not trying to, my apologies, I'm not trying to contradict what they were saying yesterday, but and of course I don't know the property. If it's a manufactured home, that could take longer. Yes. If it's a $2 million property on acreage, that could take longer. So all of these could make a difference as well.
Well, and another question that I get asked a lot, try to be the reason. Are you allowed to pick your appraiser?
Back in the ancient days of
Easy.
2010,
I was alive then.
ancient days, before they passed all the laws, the home valuation code of conduct laws, we had a stable of appraisers that we used, and we got our appraisals quickly. If there were mistakes, they got them corrected quickly because they had an interest to keep us, the lenders, happy. But after all of the bank meltdown in 2008, 2009, they quickly changed that. And now all appraisals are done through appraisal management companies. In other words, even the banks, they're not going to call up Fred and have him run out there and do the appraisal. Or let me just say that the majority of lenders and banks all have independent appraisal management companies that are separate from the banks, separate from the loan officers, separate from the realtors. So therefore, that you're getting an appraisal that is independent. Yeah.
No, like a non-arm length, like you just don't, they're not intermixed.
Right.
So anything else that you can think? I think this is really important. And I know that we get called a lot and we hear a lot of misinformation. And I think that the most important thing is if you're a buyer, if you're a seller, especially if you're a seller, we dealt with someone, you and I did, we didn't do their transaction. They moved from North Carolina. And I remember when they were moving from North Carolina, they said, oh, we can sell it. We sold our house immediately to a VA buyer and there was no appraisal needed. And I'm like, oh, okay. That's not necessarily true. But I think people write things differently or things of that sort to where, I guess there's a lot of misinformation. So for people to know, if someone says, well, my lender doesn't require an appraisal, that's not really what's going on.
And you really can't, and if you are applying for a loan for a home, you can't call your lender and say, I don't want an appraisal.
Yeah.
That's not how it works.
That's exactly correct. The only way I could get this home is if I don't have an appraisal.
And you need also on the contract needs to be very careful on how it's written. Yes, we have, for instance, I have one now that has in the contract that the buyer is going to pay up to $50,000 over the appraised value up to, I believe it's $575. So they are agreeing to pay that. If that comes in at $525, the loan is going to be based on $525 minus the 25% because it's an investment property. Then they'll have to pay that plus the $50,000.
Right.
And if you're buying a property, I don't know if you remember that Saturday that I had to step away from, we were at lunch and they were looking to buy a property. They had $20,000. It was $440. So they were just going to offer $460. And if the appraisal came in at $440, they thought they'd be good. That's not how it works.
Yeah.
You got the 20, you still have to put your down payment plus the overage.
Yeah, that's considered extra.
Yeah, and you need, as far as if you are a listing agent, You need to be very careful on looking at the verbiage. We had something happened on a client that offered to pay, at this point, it was $10,000 over, this was about 4 months ago, 10,000 over the sales price. I misspoke, over the appraised value. And the sales price was like, I think it's like 350. And so they agreed to pay 10,000 over the appraised value. Well, the appraisal came in at 325 and they ended up having to sell the house for 335 instead of the 350, thinking that it would go up to 360 because of the way it was written and the listing agent didn't catch it. So protection on both ends.
Absolutely. And call us if you have any questions.
Yeah. And a lot of listing agents are wanting proof. I see that your buyer is agreed to go over 100,000 over the appraised value. Have you verified that they have the 100,000? They want to make sure that they've got, that the funds are there if indeed there is an issue with the appraisal.
Well, and as they should.
Yeah. And I want to make one thing crystal clear. The appraisal is the opinion of the appraiser. It is an opinion. And we have had so many instances where we had appraisal go out, the appraisal came in low, and this was more back before we had all the escalation clauses in the contract, and the appraisal would come in low, we would challenge it, get approval to do another appraisal, and they would come in fine. Or there's been a rare circumstance where we've had to change lenders completely. We had one was Eric's, one of Eric's good friends, and the appraisal came in $70,000 lower than we thought it was supposed to. We took it to another lender, came in at sales price. Not all that kind of thing doesn't happen anymore, but it's just to show you that the appraisal, or they're humans, they're going to look at it, at the same. Could you say one thing that's very important that listing agents should do for an appraisal that you told me yesterday?
I was kind of shocked. I was listening to a mastermind and the people talking on it were saying that the listing agents, or how many agents don't go to the appraisal, which I was like, well, that's your chance to put the an agent should have their comps and, the reason why they priced it the way they did, and to be able to have that time with the appraiser. And that's saying that you should, as agents, you should be there for the appraisal.
The listing agent should be there for it.
Absolutely.
Although I've had buyers agents who are not supposed to say anything, but just in case they've gone there, if they feel the listing agent hasn't presented the property in the best light. So it's our, just to even have a book out to show all the upgrades that are in the home, or all the amenities that the home has that the appraiser may not be aware of. Keep in mind, the appraisers that go after these properties don't live next door. Correct. They do not. They could be coming in. Yes, they try to keep them in the same area, but they may be coming from across town or from a different suburb. You just don't know where the appraiser is going to be. They may not be as familiar with that area as the listing agent should be.
Well, and the listing agent's due diligence. You're selling a property. That's part of selling the property. So, but I think that was a really good point, both with having the listing agent presenting their case. That makes it a lot easier. As you were just saying before, if an appraisal does not come in, the opinion of the appraiser is not correct. Well, if that listing agent is prepared, then you can get those comps and send them up, or the reasons, correct?
Correct. And the other is we've been very successful at challenging appraisals. We haven't had to do that recently, but in the past, challenging when we feel that they have come in low. And I have to hand it to Eric, because he had just his engineer's mind. He should have been an engineer, not our director of operations. But he can look at the appraisal and say, no, this isn't right. Here, look, and send it over. He's been very successful at challenging appraisals when that happens. But again, it's an opinion, and your lender is not making the determination of whether you get an appraisal. It is all determined regarding basically who they're going to be selling the loan to afterwards. And the 647,000 and below that will allow a property inspection waiver are Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. And you can actually, we have, and one more point, we have run it through Fannie's system and not gotten a
Oh, yeah.
PIW. And then we'll say, okay, fine, we'll run it through Freddie's and receive a PIW. So it just, there's no, people want me to say, well, that doesn't make any sense. Sweetheart, mortgages don't make any sense.
I don't make the rules.
I don't make the rules.
People.
I always say, I'm pretty sure the people that did all the disclosures, made the rules, a lot of them have never financed a home in their life.
Yeah, ever.
But no, you didn't, I'm not on here for you to listen to my opinion. So
Not today.
not today, at least.
No, I think that was a lot of great information. There's a lot of misinformation out there. I think that it's important to kind of address it as any way as you can. And obviously, like you just said, I mean, when you get called on the weekends or stuff like that, but call us. I mean, if you do have a question,
I don't mind getting called. You can call me anytime.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, just call me anytime.
Oh, you were just saying earlier that you had a client, it was just like they had called.
Oh
you.
yeah, they call me about the appraisal, but you can call me anytime. That's what I'm here for.
Yeah, and that's what I was gonna say. I mean, that's what we're here for. Diane's here for. I mean, obviously she's a legend in the business. So any questions that you have, please utilize that. And what's your phone number, Diane?
480-235-5667.
Perfect. And then my phone number, I'm April, is 602-740-5319. And anything else you want to add?
We're here to serve. Please give us the opportunity.
And spring is sprung. So woohoo. Well, have a wonderful week.
And one more thing, and our thoughts to all of the people
Absolutely.
in Ukraine and the people here in the United States and throughout the world that have family or have come from Ukraine, and friends, and of course Emmy. We have thoughts to her. So we just can't imagine. We have so much to be grateful for here, and I don't think we realize how fragile our world is. So
absolutely. Well, thoughts, many, just our hearts go out to them as well. So, well, I hope everyone has a wonderful week, and hopefully next time will be a lot different and super happy.
Well, call us if you have any questions. We're here to serve.
Absolutely. Call us. And you can also find us on Instagram at TMA Corner. Have a great week.
Bye.